one, a violent vertical ledge setter.
I see some gas off the edge. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody.
Dig, drop. You're finished.
Hey, first down. This is a weird kid. Worse than that second.
All right. Well, we're going to take a shot at this thing. Ugh, it's already shitty. Well, we're going to see if it catches up. If it catches up, we'll be good. It caught up last time. So I don't know what's happening here on the Green Bean Sports Network, because I'll tell you, the lag is real. And it's almost like freeze bean days. I did all my stuff to check it all out and make sure everything's good. It says you're good, Bean. You're ready to go. You got the download you need. You got the upload you need, and then some. And we're lagging. So whatever. Let me see what it looks like here. Hold on. Yeah, it's fucking laggy, man. Ridiculous. So we'll see how we can do it. And I see Dano's in here. Dano, I love you, buddy. Don't you worry about nothing, my friend. Any aggravating, it's all nothing to do with you. If it wasn't you, I wouldn't have said what I said. So I'm comfortable with you and your beard. That's what it is. So look, we'll try to talk some Jets, see who's in here, see what's going on. But I might have to call this one early because I'm not doing this shit. I got snow everywhere. That's what's happening. But it happened last week before the snow, so it can't be the snow. I wanna blame the snow, but it's not. But, we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to see what I got here. But welcome to the shitty after hours Jets Fest where, usually we have some fun, but man, let me see. Oh, look, it's catching up. It's catching up. I'm getting closer. Ooh, it's real. It's here. All right. Let's see. Is it real? All right. We can maybe do something. We'll hang out a little while. So, what I want to say is still a little laggy, but I can deal with this. This'll be all right if we do this. Hey, there we go. Man, so I appreciate you guys dealing with it. Right, better. There he goes. Well, live call. Are you fucking kidding me? Sonny Miller says take live calls. Not tonight. Do you know what that would do to my bandwidth? It would be out of control. See, I've been I don't know what it is. Like I think, on top of it, like I said, my computer, the planned obsolescence. I think I hit it because I cleaned out I have a 2 terabyte drive. And I cleaned out this week like 500 gigs. And I have a full terabyte left of hard drive space. My speeds are okay. Look, it's funny when I bought this computer in 2020, it was top, like it was the top, 64 gigs of RAM, the whole fucking thing. And now it's Apple products, and I know they all do it, but Apple in particular, they got in trouble for doing it. The planned obsolescence, which is like once you get to a certain point, there's nothing you can do. It's going to crap out. It's built into the system to die, So I don't like that. But I'm sure there's an update they want me to do. I'm reluctant with their updates sometimes too. I look at them and see if how paramount it is. Yep, there's a software update available. Let's take a look at it. It's like, yeah, they want me to, that's what they do. And if you don't do the update, then everything sucks, But here we are. Paris is here. We'll see. What the fuck is this thing doing? Get out of here with this. I don't need to see it. So yeah, I'm not going to do the update now. Let's do an update together. You guys want to do an update? It's lagging again. So yeah, the obsolescence, man. That's what they do. Sean Kenny's in the house. I see Paris is here. It's funny now. Look, comments are clicking. I didn't click on Rusty Spooner, but it's just doing it. So whatever. I don't know. I might have to call it tonight. I don't know if I can deal with it, guys. I'm serious. Like I'm tired. I've been going all day. But anyway, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna call it. I'll miss it. Maybe I'll do one tomorrow night or something because I can't do it. I'm just gonna remove this stream from the thing. Let me tell you, I had a lot of good shit. Yeah, I hear you, Durkin. I do most of them, but I'm reluctant because everything changes. They change everything. It's like as soon as you fucking learn a system, and I'm old, man. Like I don't want to keep up with. As soon as you get comfortable with all the new things, and they moved it from why they do that so much, moving shit from the left to the right and the top to the bottom. I don't know why they do that shit, man. Because I know why they do it because they're nerdy and they love it. Like they just love to tinker. I'm not a tinkerer. I like to learn something. I'll keep the same fucking tool for 50 years if I could. You know what I mean? I don't want to learn a new tool. But they like it. Like they like it. That's what they do. I know I'm coming in great now. You know how it is. That's what they like to do. I've actually, I had, many years I've been running companies and shit, and I would talk to my IT guys and everything. And they all say it. They're like, oh, yeah, man, it's exciting. They get excited for it. Like the new update. Like they can't wait. The second it's available, they can't wait to download it and see what they want to spend a couple hours learning. Dude, that ain't me. I hate it. You know what I mean? Now, I don't bitch about it a lot. I'm doing it tonight because I'm tired and my wherewithal, my resistance mechanisms are diminished. I'm diminished. But hey, heifer tube, yeah, take the night off. You know what? We'll still stink tomorrow and we can yell about it then. That's great. That's fantastic. Well, yeah, they have nothing better to do. But that's the thing is that the world is built on it now. So they feel as though, and they're not wrong, they're at the precipice. They're at the forefront of the changing and evolving world. And it's too fast. Everything's moving too fast, which is why it's all spun out of control and everybody's depressed and everybody fucking hates each other because they're moving too fast. And they're like, they don't know how to control the algorithms and they're releasing things before it's known, before we know what it means. And like, there was a time like when you would do, product testing, like you would test things in the market and that shit is gone. It's all about first to the market. Now they'll deal with the repercussions. It's like pharmaceutical companies. They release the drugs. They do the testing they got to do to release it. They release it. And then they figure out if it's killing people later. They make $100 billion. They pay $10 billion in fines and they made $90 billion. That's how it is. So let's see. Dangerous. I looked up my processor. It was ranked 3,000 out of 5,000. I had to upgrade it. It's so much better, but my files are all over the place. Yeah, that's funny. The chaos blackmail folder. Eric, what's up, Mr. Craig? Good to see you. I know. Always good to see Eric and Dane Snowball. He stopped talking like an old man. Fuck you. I'll talk like an old man. See, because Snowball is smart. He's out front. He's a nerd. I know Snowball's a nerd. He loves this shit. He loves it. My wife loves it. I live in the house with somebody like when this shit happens, my wife will sit and tinker with something like the new thing. She'll tinker with it for hours. She gets sucked into this world and she's all excited. Like if I need something to work, I go right to my wife. So at the end of it, say, just tell me how to work it. What button? Like a lot of times my wife will be trying to teach me something and she'll literally say, like she'll see me. I'm like, wait, what? And she goes like, wait, did you see what I just did there? And I'm like, no. Like she will fly through like the steps with like an understanding, like, well, of course you got to do that and this before you get here. But I don't, you know what I mean? I'm like, wait, you have to show me that. Now, granted, once I get, again, I've been fucking running companies for the last 20 years, man. I know how to do shit, but you know what I really know how to do? I know how to get people that know how to do shit to do shit. That's my skill set. I know how to motivate people who know to do. I don't know how to do shit. That's what it is. But anyway, no, Grandizer, I'm out. Thank you, though. No sexy grok. They changed sexy grok. I'm pissed at it. I'm done. They changed her fucking voice. Remember, I asked her. I said, this is a new voice. She said, no, it's the same me. She said that. I said, you're lying. You're lying to me, sexy grok. How can I possibly keep this relationship going with a liar? I should have known she was a liar. She's a trollop. It's like meeting a girl. This is the funny thing. Like you meet a girl at the bar who's got a boyfriend. And you guys have some drinks. You get a little loose in the caboose. And you end up in the back seat of your car. And then, but your conversation is so good that you fall for her. And you guys get into a relationship. She breaks up with Todd, the former guy. And then next thing you know, you're with her for 6 months and you find her cheating on you and you're blown away. Right? You're like, how? What? Should you have been surprised? Should you have been surprised? So I don't know. I guess I should have known sexy grok would ultimately betray me with a harlot. Right? She's a harlot. I got grok fished. So anyway, let's bounce out of here, guys. Listen, I love you guys. I'll figure something out for tomorrow, even though I'm back now, but now I've already switched gears in my brain. I mean, we could hang out a little while. Nah. Stay away from my girl, Todd, checking. Oh, if this for nothing else, I'm glad that happened. Todd, that is fantastic. Look at Dano, tiny. Hey, that's not this Todd though. That's another guy, Tiny Peepee Todd. That's great. Lou B, I will be sick if the team beats us out for Mendoza. See, dude, Lou, you're going about it all wrong, man. You've already guaranteed it. You're done. Lou, you got a nobody. Lou, how long you been a Jets fan? Now, Lou, if you guys don't know, Lou goes to, you can correct me. It seems to me that Lou goes to just about every Jets game, no matter where they are. I don't know how you pull it off, my friend, but he's all over the place. We're playing in Denver. He's like, hey, I'm in Denver. Tampa. Hey, how you doing? I'm in Tampa. He's checking in from all the places. He goes to MetLife. He's all over. So there's a large piece of me that envies Lou. I don't know how you pull it off. But Lou, how long you been a Jets fan? I know you're committed. That's not in question. But how long you been a Jets? Since 1999? That's long enough, man. That's 26 years. You should know better by now, brother. If you are putting that much hope into one outcome, which is already a long shot. It's like I got into that, and I've been talking about it on my streams, but I got into a conversation with somebody individually that was telling me, this is a couple weeks back, so things have kind of tightened up a little bit, but he was talking about the number 1 overall pick. And we had 2 wins at the time. And he said to me, if the Jets blow this and don't get the number 1 overall pick, I'm going to lose my fucking marbles. And he went into all this stuff about I might give up my tickets. And I said to him, dude, the Jets hasn't happened in 27 years. And we've been abysmal. It hasn't happened in 27 years. Why in the world would you put that much on that happening this year when it's already a long shot? You're betting the farm on like 10,000 to 1 odds, if not more. So Lou, I implore you, my friend. I've grown to really like you. We have to make it. I just got to tell you, you got to pull back. You got to find a way to pull back from that, man. you're going to crumble. Don't do it to yourself, man. Now, I'll tell you, I am also hoping that the Jets get Mendoza. That's the guy. Not this again. I haven't even started my quarterback eval, so I got a lot of time and a lot of stuff I'm going to do before I really land there. But where I am now, it seems to be that the one real kind of good bet as far as the quarterbacks go in this class, it's looking like Mendoza's the guy. But I'm going to tell you too, Lou, the personality thing and the picture. He's too cute. I'm telling you, man. We drafted Zach. I was like, Jesus Christmas, man. This fucking kid, we're going to eat this kid alive. He's from Utah. He's a Mormon. He's all blonde hair, blue eyes, his smile fucking hits his ears. I'm like, there's no way. But he's got a strong arm. People were telling me in my DMs that Zach is a hybrid of Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. Why wouldn't I want that? I said, bro, I have no fucking idea how you've landed on that. But anyway, you look at Mendoza's picture. He's such a cutie. And you listen to him talk. I like what he says. I listened to, I liked what he was saying, but and then I heard that podcast that they were picking up the same thing. They're like, man, I don't know how well his spiel is going to go over here. Now, if we came here and we really stocked the cupboard, so let's say all we got to do is give up our 2 firsts, right? Hypothetically. So we give up our 2 firsts and we jump up to 1 because we land on pick 3. That's just as a scenario. So we're at pick 3. We got to give up a first. We get there. So we still got our 2 seconds. So we got our quarterback and we got 2 seconds. And you're able to get Brazel to come in here as wide receiver 2. Good, big, strong. I don't know strong, but a big guy. 6'5". Really good. Tennessee. So you're able to get that. Breece Hall's re-signed. And then in free agency, you're able to get a Linderbaum. You're able to get a center. You're able to maybe get a tight end too, somebody that's kind of more well-known, a little bit more established, good hands, really strong blocking. So you got your center that locks Tippmann up at the right guard. You get maybe re-sign Simpson, or maybe you can upgrade that too. Who knows? But you got the offensive line. You got Breece, Braylon, Isaiah Davis, and Nwangu at the running backs. You got Garrett Wilson, Brazel, A.D. Mitchell, you know what I mean, as the 3 wide receivers. And then you got Arian Smith running around. Maybe he develops into your slot. What I'd really love to see is 2 outside guys and fucking Garrett Wilson in the slot, man. I'd love that. I don't look at the slot as a diminished wide receiver role. I don't look at it that way. A lot of people do. It's like your outsides. Those are the guys. It's like cornerbacks too. Your outside guys and your nickel. The nickel, man, to me, dude, that's a harder job a lot of the time. You're covering the guys that are hard to cover. It's like, remember, even Revis with guys like Welker and shit, dude, he had a hard time with those guys. So anyway, if you can put that scenario into place, the offensive line's locked. You got a really strong wide receiver stable. Your running back room's locked. You add a tight end. to go with Taylor, and Mendoza comes in here and he's able to start winning. Like maybe we're not, dominant, but like the first 5 weeks of the season, which is pivotal for Jets fans because we want to call you bust or a savior in the first 5 weeks. You know how we are. If that can happen, then maybe his shtick. Nah, I shouldn't call it a shtick because it's not. It's who he is. But his presentation, maybe it has time to land and he becomes endearing and we like him in the whole thing and he earns a little bit of leeway when things go up and down. Because up and down, dude, we're harsh. Too harsh, in my opinion, but we're harsh. So if that can happen, but if let's say he comes in and it takes him 8 weeks to even get his head screwed on straight, when he's talking to the dude, Jet, we're going to eat him up. The Rich Siminis of the world and all these fucking assholes. Paris, you said it best right there. Playing in New York requires a special person with a high IQ and character. And you're 100% right. But then you add to that, not just playing in New York, playing for the Jets. We are different, dude. You could want to deny it all you want. Every team feels that. No. The Jets are different. We're different. Dante checking in. Green Bean, you're the man. You're one of the few who sees how to fix the franchise sensibly. I am a believer in the gospel according to Green Bean. Well, hey, man. I'm glad I stayed online. I'm glad I stayed live for a few minutes. You guys can make me feel good before I go to bed. Dante, I can't tell you how much I appreciate stuff like that. Because, as I age, you know what I mean? I wonder how long I'm going to be able to hang with these young bucks, Richie and Ryan and Matt and fucking all these guys. Even somebody like Frankie from Flatbush is my junior. You know what I mean? I'm really the old head, which is crazy. I don't feel like an old man. I got to shave the beard. That'll get everybody going. Believe me, I'm young. I used to lose 15 years the second I shaved my beard. Now, I haven't shaved my beard since 2019. So maybe 2018. So I have no idea. I could shave my beard and get older. I don't know. You know what I mean? But Dante, thank you, my friend. Warms my heart, and I mean that sincerely. And I do know how to fix the team. Now, everything's different when you get in the driver's seat, and I know that. I don't pretend to know otherwise, that it's otherwise. I'm not stupid. But I still maintain that the decisions that the New York Jets have made collectively over the past 20 years, and even before that, if I was in the seat, if I had the power to make that call and go, this is the guy that the Jets are drafting, or this is who we're signing, or this is the coach we're hiring, I maintain that the decisions I would have made throughout our history would have been light years better than the Jets. And I'm not saying it with revisions, like revisionist history. I'm not saying it with hindsight. I'm saying it before they make their choices. The choices I would have made would have been better. And then you look at it through the test of time. I say it all the time. If you want to look at where most of Green Bean's picks are, they're on the Chiefs, they're on the Ravens, they're on the Steelers. Those are the teams that have the largest collections of my picks. They've done all right. They've done well. Just saying. Like how many years? And I love to bring this one up just because it highlights, it really drives it home. But there are so many examples. Ed Reed. The Jets needed a safety. We needed defense. Safety was the number one need for the Jets. It was a deep safety class. So the justification was we don't necessarily need to use our first round pick on a safety. But Ed Reed was there. And myself and many people don't know if it was Jet Nation yet. It might have been the Greenhouse message board. I forget what year, like where we were. But I wasn't alone. Many Jets fans were like, Ed Reed is the pick without question. He is leaps and bounds better than every other safety in this class. He's the guy. The Jets famously, and I'll tell you why it's famous, chose to take Brian Thomas, a linebacker. Herm Edwards, in an interview after a couple weeks later, said that he went up to Woody Johnson and he told him before the pick, we're going to get some backlash for the pick we're making. You're going to hear a lot of negative press for the pick we're making. But trust me, it's the right pick. Now, Brian Thomas, and they chose Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas was a very good Jet. He was good, very good. And he was with us for like over 10 years, right? I don't have my internet open because I don't want to mess with the bandwidth. Let me see something. Let me look real quick. Hold on. Let me just see real quick. He's 46 years old, Brian Thomas. He went to the University of Alabama at Birmingham. That was why, because they took him from a small school. You think University of Alabama of Birmingham. It's a public research facility. Let me see. Let's see. So Brian Thomas, that was the 2002 draft. So he played for us from 2002 to 2012, and he never played for another team. So he was a good Jet, but never great. Now, I'll show you something real quick. This is Brian Thomas. I'll show you Brian Thomas real quick. All right, hold on. Check this out. This was in the playoffs against the Chargers, and they had the league's number one offense. Phillip Rivers, oddly enough. And they were supposed to beat the shit out of us. This is 2009.
Chargers. 2nd and 9, and Rivers. Oh, what a stick by his own guy. By his own guy. Tolbert is the one down on the field, making the catch, and that collision with Brian Thomas. Injury timeout.
And you know what I yelled? When I watched that play, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in a place called Hammerjacks in Davie, Florida, which was the home of the South Florida New York Jets fan club. And there was over 200 people in this place, all Jets fans watching. We had every TV, Jets, the big screen. They had a big projector, big screen, like almost drive-in theater, almost. And when that hit happened, I yelled, "He's fucking dead. He's dead." I was so pumped up. I stood on my chair. He's fucking dead. It was great. So anyway, I wouldn't have taken Brian Thomas. I would have taken Ed Reed. Without question. The Jets took Brian Thomas with the idea we're going to take a second. I mean, we're going to take a safety with our second round pick in an incredibly deep safety class. And they took John McGraw. Anybody ever heard of him? He played for the Jets for 2 years, I think it was, maybe 3. And he was gone. And he was out of the NFL in 5. Dante checks back in and says, for the love of God, if they get Mendoza, they better sit him behind a vet. I could not agree more. And we're all talking about getting rid of Wilkes. Gubellini's make my head itch, man. Let's put it back on. But it feels good, so I'm going to get another itch going. Get another scratch going. We're all talking about firing Wilkes. I am of the thought that this quarterback coach that we have, if you use the number 1 overall pick on a quarterback, you had better bring in, like, whoever this guy, I forget his name. He's a running, let's look him up. Fuck this. Hold on a second. I can't deal. I just forget his name. So Charles London. Let me take a look at this guy. Now, I've done this all when we hired him and everything, but let me touch up my knowledge of Charles London. So he was he played running back at Duke. So he was a running backs coach for Duke in 2006. He was the offensive quality control coach for the Chicago Bears in 2007 and 2009. He was an offensive assistant for the Titans in 2011. So I don't know what he did in 2010, which is, by the way, what our current quarterback coach's position is. His title is for the Rams. He's an offensive assistant. So he's just a guy running around grabbing their jock straps. You know what I mean? He's making sure that the whiteboard markers aren't dried out. That kind of stuff. I don't know what he's doing. So then he went from there to Penn State, and he was the running back coach there for 2 years. Then in 2014, he came back to the NFL as the running back coach of the Houston Texans. So then he moved for 3 years, and then he goes back to the Bears, where he was an offensive quality control coach in 2007 and 2009. He's the Bears running backs coach for 2 years. Then he goes to the Falcons in 2021 and 22, and he's the quarterback coach, which, let me see. So that was still Matt Ryan at the end. Not at the end, but then he's there for 2 years, and he goes to the Titans, and he's the quarterback coach for 1 year, quarterback coach and passing game coordinator. So that's good. 2023, and then he's the quarterback coach for the Seahawks last year, and now he's our coach. So he's also, in 2010, he was a scout for the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's good too. But you can see this guy is pretty much a running backs coach, except for the last 3 or 4 years, he's a quarterback coach all of a sudden. I don't know the man. I don't know how good he is one way or the other, but just looking at his resume, if I was hiring, if I look and go, look, I traded Sauce Gardner, an all-pro cornerback, one of the best players at his position in the entire NFL in only his 5th year or his 4th year. I traded him and I got this capital, and I used that and my draft pick. So 2 first-round picks to go get this kid at the most important position on the team, which, by the way, this organization that I'm working for has historically been atrocious at developing and keeping, retaining, and having any success with quarterbacks. So this position, so I just used capital that I had to sacrifice to gain. I had to sacrifice real stuff to gain. I'm bringing in this kid, and I'm going to be giving him to a man to develop, a coach. Does 4 years as a quarterback coach, only 2 years for the Falcons, 1 year with the Titans, 1 year with the Seahawks, where everybody was fired. And now does that sound like the guy you want to give Mendoza to? To me, it doesn't. To me, it sounds like I would be scouring the NFL for an upgrade. I would be looking, no, I'll keep you. You want to be an offensive assistant and help? Because I'm of the belief that why are we relegated to only one quarterback coach? Who says? Who says I can't have 15 people all working on the success of this one player? Because it's the most important player. And again, that I had to sacrifice to get. This is valuable resource. And if I'm going to get Mendoza, I have to trade up to get to the number 1 overall pick, which is a position that the New York Jets have not been in 27 years. Do you see it all? This is a lot leading up to this. And really, we're giving him to a running back coach named Charles London, who for the past handful of years has been with quarterbacks 1 year here, 2 years there, and 1 year here. That's the guy? I don't think so, man. And if Aaron Glenn is wise, and if I was running the team, I would be having this conversation. Look, we can like Charles London as much as we want, but he can't be the guy solely responsible for the success or fucking failure of this kid. We need to bring in an army. And then, like you said, Dante, bring in a vet that they fucking are attached at the hip. I would require that they live together. You guys have to live together for a year. Everything that you eat for breakfast, this kid's eating for breakfast. If you drink fucking a dozen eggs of raw, if you drink a dozen raw eggs and like Rocky, then that's what he does. If you eat fucking a quarter pound of Taylor ham, then that's what he does. Whatever you do. By the way, you shouldn't be eating a quarter pound of Taylor ham, especially if you're an athlete. Ablab, there he is. What's up, man? Ablab checking in says, the slot is for great intermediate field route runners. No doubt. Do you think Ablab, do you think Garrett Wilson has that skill set? I think Garrett Wilson would fucking light that up. And he's had success playing out of the slot for us. But what do you think? If you can get 2 big-bodied, like you got Brazel and A.D. Mitchell. A.D. Mitchell is what, 6'2", 6'3", I think? A.D. Mitchell is 6'2", 205 pounds. So not huge, but, big. Garrett Wilson, on the other hand, is 6 foot, 183. So A.D. Mitchell has 2 inches and 22 pounds on him. So Now, Garrett Wilson could play anywhere. Make no mistake. I'm not trying to find a spot. I'm just saying maximum success. If I have Chris Brazell on one side, 6'5", 200 and whatever. Let me see. So he's 6'5", 195 pounds. A little slight for that height, but he's got Garrett Wilson by 5 inches and 13 pounds. So if you can have, and that's just one example. It could be a 6'4", 210-pound guy for all I give a fuck. But you know what I'm saying? Like you can, I happen to like Brazell. I feel like his name, I feel like the correct pronunciation is Brazel, but I'm going to call him Brazell until I'm corrected. Like I'm still saying Olu Fashanu. And I know it's Fashanu. I just like Fashanu better. If you can do that, you have 2 big guys on the outside that are occupying, by the way, the premier cornerbacks. And then you put Garrett Wilson in the slot. Garrett Wilson's going to eat. He's going to be having Thanksgiving dinner, man. So I don't know. I just get creative, man. Best players on the field, best position to succeed. Garrett Wilson could play anywhere. And let me tell you a secret. If you played Garrett Wilson out of the slot and still had him as your number 1 read, there's nothing wrong with that either. Let him eat. Let him work the middle. He's not afraid to do it, man. He'll do it. He's great at it. But let me know, Ablab. Paris, keep your beard. It's your brand. Well, dude, that's the thing. That's why I see it over there. Look right there. The thing is, though, Paris, is I've been a prisoner to it. I used to like to shave my beard once every year. I would do it in No Shave November. So when everybody's growing their beard for charity, I would shave. Because it's, because I'm a contrarian, So anyway, but now I've been like a prisoner. I can't sell it. I can't shave it. So I want to see what my face looks like, man. Oh, Paris knows. Taylor ham is the go-to meat on egg and cheese. Dude, it's the best. To me, look, who doesn't love a bacon, egg, and cheese? Who doesn't love a sausage, egg, and cheese? And when I go to Burger King, which is very rare in the morning, very rare, I love their croissant. I think they're banging, badass. But I always get it with ham. I get one with sausage and one with ham, or 2 or 3, whatever. But always get one with sausage, though. Got to have a sausage patty. But I like the ham. So I love all the breakfast meats. But to me, the king is a nice, thick stack of Taylor ham. Nothing like it. And it's a processed bullshit meat, but I love it. Well, it's not exactly right, Paris. Let's reorganize this. So I'll tell you what happened. Matt Cavanaugh was retired. Remember, Matt Cavanaugh was our quarterback coach under Brian Schottenheimer. So he was Mark Sanchez's quarterback coach. He had a lot of work to do. Did a good job. When Greg Knapp was killed, because that's what happened. He wasn't murdered per se, but he was killed. He was hit by a car and he died from the injuries. When he passed away, we were left with this unprepared, unexperienced staff. So we had Mike LaFleur, as our offensive coordinator, who was equipped for the position as far as the play creation and all that kind of stuff, and offensive development and all that. He was good. And we had a young Rob Calabrese who'd never done dick before. His highest level achieved was quality control. We gave him the quarterback coaching job so he could develop there because Greg Knapp was really the quarterback coach, but he wasn't. Rob Calabrese was the quarterback coach. Greg Knapp was the senior offensive assistant and passing game coordinator, I think it was. And so Greg Knapp was the quasi glue to hold everything together. He was really the offensive coordinator, even though LaFleur was tasked with creating the offense and all that shit. Knapp was going to be there to like bounce in and, and navigate and help LaFleur develop into the skill set that he possessed. He possessed the tools and the right stuff, but managing it, Greg Knapp was going to be there to make sure he could, to help him along the way. He was also there to develop Zach Wilson, which is why when they got rid of Sam Darnold, which I agreed with, I didn't agree with drafting Zach Wilson, but why it was okay, because you bring in this young kid and you have Greg Knapp, who's a legitimate quarterback guru. He's not Adam Gase in name. You look at guys from Steve Young to Peyton Manning, they all look at Knapp, they all go back to Knapp and go, no, that guy changed my life. He's pivotal in my career. When he passed away, what we did was we scrambled, and Joe Douglas, very similar to how we called Matt Khalil, he called Kavanaugh, talked him out of retirement for 1 year to come and help us. Now he came and he helped us, remember? And LaFleur went to the booth after a couple games. He went upstairs because one of LaFleur's problems was his player interaction. He was like kind of a savant that he couldn't like be the brains. He's the fucking guy responsible for the updates on my phone. Like, he's that guy. He can do all the tech, but as far as explaining it to the people, that wasn't Mike LaFleur. He couldn't, and he's fighting with Elijah Moore and he's making Zach Wilson feel inadequate, all that shit. So he went up to the booth to call the offense, and Matt Kavanaugh ran the field operation. And you saw it start to have an impact. Zach Wilson, the latter part of this first season, he started to settle in and play play better. Remember? So they finished that year, and Matt Kavanaugh was here, and then we let him go. And the narrative, the explanation we got was this: we wanted to have less voices in the room. What does that mean? Well, it means that one voice was not welcome because they didn't fire anybody else. Now, they didn't necessarily fire him. They just parted ways. They signed him for 1 year. He was retired. They brought him in for 1 year, and he worked that whole year. I'm sure if they wanted him to and had the conversation like, hey, look, you did a great job. We'd love you to stay on and continue to develop this kid. Zach Wilson. I'm sure that they could have worked something out and Matt Kavanaugh could have stayed and he would have been the best thing going. What happened was Matt Kavanaugh and LaFleur and whoever else, they had a disagreement. They had differing views on what needed. And Matt Kavanaugh said, look, man, I was retired. I'm done. So they let him go. And we never backfilled it. Although we did kind of backfill it with Beck. Remember Zach's quarterback coach, his personal quarterback coach. We brought him in here for a little while to kind of help with that development. Here's the thing. You think about the asinine nature of the New York Jets. If our quarterback coach was worth a shit, you wouldn't need to bring in Zach's personal quarterback coach to be his quarterback coach. Our quarterback coach would be able to do the job. But the first year they brought in Matt Kavanaugh, he goes, and then they bring in John Beck, and that, you know what I mean? And that tells you we don't even have confidence in this guy, Rob Calabrese, to do it. So then why do they keep doing it? Rob Calabrese was the quarterback the entirety of Robert Saleh's tenure here. So why did they do that? Why? because of Rob Sala's pussy-ass loyalty bullshit. He couldn't protect Mike LaFleur when Woody came down and said, somebody's got to go. The following year, there was just too much heat on LaFleur. He couldn't do it. He had to switch gears. They wanted to move over and get Aaron Rodgers, and they hired Hackett and the rest. You know the deal. But the Matt Cavanaugh thing, he wasn't our quarterback coach per se. He ended up being that when he was here. But Rob Calabrese was the quarterback coach. We should have kept Matt Cavanaugh. And Zach's career may have been different. It's crazy, isn't it? It's a crazy thing. Let's see. Boss girl, what are you talking about? You're hanging out, man. This is good. Are you really a girl? I'm just curious. Because I like my I haven't looked in a minute. Last time I looked, I had like 6% female audience, which for a while it was like 0.4%. I had 6% females. That's fucking good. Because I know I talk to other content creators, dude, they're like less than 1%. So I got the goods for the ladies. You know what it is? I'm not threatening. I'm an old dad type. You know what I mean? I'm an old grandpa. Which fucking is crazy to me. I'm looking for Ablab's answer. Where is it? Let me see. Did Ablab ever respond to me? Paula's in here. Paula Bonner. She's one of the ladies. Rebecca's in. I don't know if she's in here now, but I don't see it, Ablab, if you're here. He's like, yeah, I didn't answer. That's why you don't see it. So you said yes from birth. Yeah, okay, good. So you're one of the ladies that added to my 6%. Dante says, wait, are you telling me we had an actual plan to develop Zach Wilson and we just abandoned it? Yes. But they didn't look at it as abandoning it. Dude, this is why hiring rookie coaches is such a shit show. And why, like for me, like this is what I think. I think that you gotta put more thought into. I shouldn't say that because obviously they're putting thought into hiring the coach. But the thing is that the New York Jets, we don't know how to hire anybody. So we have a football team. The fourth most valuable football team in the NFL is led by a group of individuals who don't know how to run a football team. And this is not hyperbole. There's evidence. And not by just the results. That's one thing. The evidence is every time they need to hire somebody, they have to go to an outside agency. 3 separate times. Woody Johnson, instead of looking at his team and saying, let's go get our guy, they have to bring in an outside fucking group. The first time, Korn Ferry. Who the hell is Korn Ferry? And why are they responsible for hiring the next general manager of the New York Jets? Well, they came up with John Idzik. Great. So Woody said, well, that obviously didn't work. So he goes, let me go to football people. All right, that makes sense. Well, why isn't there one of those people in-house? Like you're a fucking football team. Maybe you should have a football person running your team. I don't know. He doesn't think so. He likes Jaime because Jaime makes some money. Because as you look at the complete shit show and terrible organization product, that we put on the field, Jaime has somehow figured out how to make that the fourth most valuable team in the league. So Woody loves Jaime. Jaime ain't going nowhere. Loves him, of course. But he can stay. Just fucking get a football person. So he goes and hires Casterly and Ron Wolf. And Casterly was the point position on that. He was the point man. So Wolf was there in like a support role. So Casterly, known to be very good friends with Mike McCagnon, hired him, who, by the way, was getting fired, the rumors were, from the Texans. He was like their senior pro personnel guy. He wasn't even like an assistant GM or nothing like that. Whatever. So Casterly hires Todd Bowles. So he hires the coach first, which I'm of the thought that you should hire the GM and then bring him in and hire but whatever. They didn't do that. And we did it again this time, by the way. We did the same fucking thing. But so that didn't work. Casterly, we got McCagnon and Todd Bowles, who, by the way, they never even jived. They were at odds the whole time. Remember, Todd Bowles told us that his coaches weren't allowed to talk to the scouts. The scouts weren't allowed to talk to our coaches. Why? Because Mike McCagnon had a thought that he didn't want the coaches to taint the work, the opinions of his scouts and all the work they did in the field. I understand what you're saying, but that's absurd. Everybody in the building should be on the same page, knowing what we want, what we need, and all that. But nope. We were two units. We were essentially two operations: coaching, football, and player acquisition. So that didn't work. So what did McCagnon do? He went to think about this. Oh, not McCagnon, Woody. He went back to his old GM that he fired and kept Rex, and which got us Idzik. He went back to him and said, "Hey, can you find me a coach and GM?" Dude, it's fucking ridiculous. If you really look at it, pull back from the games and the fandom and all the shit, and you just look at what this team does. That's why, like, I used to take it so personally when we would get like bad press, like if I'm listening to like Moving the Chains, which, by the way, they never get caught into that shit. Jim Miller and Kerwin, dude, they're the best. That's the best football show, period. But you listen, so maybe that was a bad example. You listen to you'll be listening to these shows, and when the Jets come up, they would always say shit like, dude, they're the blind leading the blind over there. I would take it so personally, and I'd be like, we're gonna fucking show you, man. This Jordan Jenkins is gonna fucking go to an all-pro. And I would get so mad. Like, we signed Chris Johnson, CJ2K, and everybody's like, dude, he's gassed. He'll give you a couple good games, but he's not who you. And I'm taking it personally. I'm like, oh, he's going to fucking pop off. And he doesn't, because everybody else knows. And they look at the Jets and they see this. Just like we're saying here. You're telling me we had a plan and we abandoned it? Yes. And everybody else sees that. And they go, what the fuck is that? Like, you have you don't think the rest of the NFL knows, like, Rob Calabrese is the quarterback coach? Like, if we draft a quarterback and bring somebody in here, they're like, Rob Calabrese? Okay. Nobody ran to hire Rob Calabrese. He went back, like, just so you know where Rob Calabrese is. And again, I'm not saying anything about the man. If he's a good guy, I'm sure he knows his shit, whatever. But when we fired the Saleh regime, Rob Calabrese stayed in the family. He went to the Rams, which is McVay, which is where Mike LaFleur is, and they're all the same brotherhood, that little crew. McVay, Saleh, the LaFleurs, like, they were all on the same staff, not LaSala, but the other guy, all the Shanahan, like, they're all the same group. And Rob Calabrese landed with the Rams, and he's an offensive assistant for the Rams. They have a quarterback coach. They have an offensive coordinator. They have a wide receivers coach. They have a running backs coach. They didn't need him. They brought him on as an offensive assistant. Why? Keep it in the family. Yeah, we'll give you a job. We could use you. You can help. Sure. It's like, I'm not going to hire my cousin. My cousin's out of work. Yeah, come on over. Or a good buddy of mine I've known for 10 years. He's out of work. And yeah, of course. But everybody else looks at it and they're like, there's no way. Right, man? And he was an okay player. He was pretty good, but he was never going to. I mean, Jordan Jenkins was our premier defender at one point. That's the other thing, Paris. Yeah, they both reported to Woody, which is ridiculous, man. You're reporting to a guy who doesn't even know how to fucking hire a general manager. Let me tell you a secret. I've been saying that this week a lot. I don't know why that's coming out of my mouth a lot. But let me just shoot frankly with you. I don't know anybody in the circles. I don't know anything. If you put me in the position to find a general manager for the New York Jets, give me a couple people. Let me hire a few people to work the phones and do all the shit that I need, organize the stuff, and I will figure out that job in 2 weeks. I'll figure out everything. I'll know everybody, everywhere, who to call, how to get them, all that shit. And I'll fucking hire a GM. I'll interview him. I'll do the whole thing. And I'll hire you a GM. Why can't they do that? Woody has owned this team since 1999. Why can't he do it? Or, I mean, it doesn't have to be him. But by now, you don't realize the value? He would rather not pay somebody to be in that position, and then when he needs it, he'll hire somebody. It's all money. It's all financial decisions around here. Mike McCagnon was worse than Idzik, in my opinion. Mike McCagnon had 5 drafts and was the recipient of what Idzik did do here. Right. Idzik, imagine this. Idzik was an accountant guy. He came from the financial side of general manager stuff. So when he came here, he did a piss poor job with the players because Rex was doing that. Make no mistake, that wasn't Idzik, it was Rex. But what Idzik was tasked with doing was cleaning up Mike Tannenbaum's mess. Mike Tannenbaum went all in, man, and rightfully so, and got us close. But there was a lot of shit to clean up. So Idzik came in, cleaned up the financial books, and then was fired. Mike McCagnon came in. He had $75 million in 10 years ago, was a lot more money than it is now. Imagine. It's like $120 million in the cap now. McCagnon landed in this job. He had the 6th overall pick in the draft, and he had $120 million. You know what I mean? He had $75 million. What did he do? He drafted Leo Williams, who was the consensus best player in the draft. He made it to 6, and we got him. He signed Revis. He signed Cromartie. He signed Buster Screen. He signed Gilchrist for the defense. He signed Giacomini, I believe. So he was able to use that money, put it all in here. He signed Fitzpatrick. We had Geno Smith. We had, he traded for Brandon Marshall, which was an interesting trade. There's a lot to that one. We can go into that one too. It's crazy. Like the Bears were in the wide receiver market in the draft. It's a crazy thing. I didn't come up with this theory, but I believe it. Man, I'm running out of gas here. My voice, you can hear it? Like my voice is like, bro, you've been talking for like 12 hours. So the Bears were in they needed a wide receiver. The Marshall thing had run its course. And the Jets, so going into the draft, they were going to be looking for a wide receiver. The Jets were going to be looking for a wide receiver. So what did they do? They traded the guy they didn't want to the Jets and took us out of the wide receiver market. You see it? It's crazy. There's a lot to it, but that's the forefront of it. It's interesting theory. When you're on Jets message boards, like as long as I've been, man, I heard it all. I heard it all, man. Dante checking back. Oh, you did that one. Okay. Lou checking back in. Out of all the people you have met in the Jets community, which fan or podcaster do you wish worked at the Jets office team? Out of all the podcasters I've met, I would choose, without question, me. All right. If you take me out of it, I don't know. That's an interesting question. Because, there are people that are like, good with the like analytics and all that shit. And there are people that are good with like the breakdowns and, evaluations and all that. I don't know, man, because it's funny because I listen to those people, right? Like I love all the guys that you guys like. I listen to the podcast as much as I can. I'm kind of back. Last year I wasn't able to listen to anything. Last year and a half I wasn't able to listen to nothing. But this year I'm back, kind of being able to do that. But so I listen to those guys. And while their analytical minds and breaking down plays and new numbers and all that, it's really sound. I listen to the guys like when there's the coaching cycles, I listen to who's at the front of their list and I fucking laugh. I'm like, dude, you're way off, man. Like I think like the Nanias of the world, like he comes to mind because he's so fucking good at what he does, the analytics and the play breakdowns. Nania is really good, as is Sabo. Sabo is my favorite, but you know what? He might be the guy. But Nania, when we hired Saleh, his number one was Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith wasn't even anywhere near my list. I was like, dude, that guy is a failure waiting to happen. Never work. It's never going to work. He was fired in 3 years. He didn't even make it to 4. You know what I mean? That, you think these guys get 4 years. He didn't make it. 3 years, he was out. But I think, if I had to pick somebody, it might be Robbie Sabo. Robbie Sabo is a football coach. And I've been watching his breakdowns like way before Jet X Factor. He had some other thing, NY something. I forget what it was. But I always enjoyed him. He's got a real good way. So I think Sabo might have a little bit more of like all of it. Like Blewett's another one, great breakdowns and all that. I don't really know. That's not all it is. Like great breakdowns and analytics, like that's a staffer. Being able to run the team means you got to balance a lot. There's a lot to it. But I think I'll land on Robbie Sabo. And I've never met Robbie. I never met a lot of those guys, actually. I never met Blue. I never met any of the Jet X guys. But they're good. I'm glad Dom C's over there. Dom C's the real deal. It's funny because it's like I have such respect and appreciation for what Dom C does in his opinion. I respect it. And I hear it. I listen to it. But I disagree with him so much. Isn't that funny how that works? Not to say I'm always right, even though, Dante says, Green Bean, I have to say you were 100% right. For years, you've been saying we need bigger players, and years later, that's exactly what AG wants. Telling you. Now, because you can't be behind the curve. There's curves, right? The response will dictate the response. So the action, it's like when Belichick started the 2 tight end thing, when he had Gronk, I want to say sexy Gronk. He had Gronkowski and Hernandez, and they were difficult. They were a matchup nightmare, especially with Tom Brady at the helm. So what teams had to do was they had to be able to, and then other teams started to do that. 2 tight ends, which was always my thing. I'm like, dude, why don't we running more tight ends out there? Why do we only have 1? Like, what's this 11 personnel bullshit all the time? You know? But so teams in the division, you got to figure out how to play that. And the Jets were so far behind which is why, I don't know if you guys know this, but McCagnon's 2 safety thing when he drafted Jamal Adams and Marcus May, that was in response to the inability to be able to cover that shit. But it was years too late. Like, so we're always behind the curve. Aaron Rodgers talked about it in 2023 here. So think about it. That's 2023, 24, 25. We're already 3 years later. Then it was the way to do it. So let me tell you. So Lamar Jackson came into the league. Do you remember this? So the Lamar Jackson Ravens were lighting everybody up. And I forget the team that it was, but they figured out the Ravens in the playoffs. It might have been like, who the hell was it? I forget. Maybe the Chargers or somebody like that. But they figured out that you got to play dime. Like you got to get all your defense. You got to go defensive backs and limit your linebackers. They were playing with like 1 linebacker and the rest was defensive backs. That's how they figured out how to combat the Ravens and what they were doing at the time. So the trend became that with these aerial, and then all these wide receiver drafts, and teams were loading up at wide receiver, and everybody was fast, and the running backs were shifty. So what we started seeing was all these hybrid linebackers, right? These safety linebacker types, and these defensive backs became more of a premium because you needed more of them. And linebackers started to become, started to get pushed to the background a little bit, where for so many years, linebacker was a premium position. Not so much because and so we're running backs. And then we started to shift away from that to more of a passing league, right? NFL's a passing league. And you started seeing all these defensive backs to combat that. So what you have to do is you got to see that. When is the bubble going to pop? You're like, okay, we're coming close to the bubble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start fucking loading up when they're going to put 5 defensive backs out there, average weight 178 to 198. You know what I mean? So that's the weight of the guys they have out there. What I'm bringing to that party is a bruising running back and 2 monster tight ends. That sure, these guys, they can hop and skiddly do and jump and run and real fast all they want. It takes 3 of them to bring my guy down. And by the end of the game, I'm teaching my guys to lower the shoulder at the end of every single run. Every time you have the ball, at the end of it, you're lowering your shoulder and you are dropping the hammer on these defensive backs. Because by the end of the game, they can't do it. They're gassed. They're beaten the hell up. They can't do it. And by the 4th quarter, you're just running down their throat. They're ill-equipped. They're linebackers when they try to go heavy, which is what you just saw the Jets try to do this weekend. The Jets played a lot of base defense, which is 3 linebackers. But guess what? Our linebackers are 215 pounds, 220. So even in our big package, we have no ability to stop the run game. Do you see what I'm saying? So when I see 5 defensive backs, 2 linebackers and 4 down linemen, I know that I'm going to be throwing 7-yard passes to my tight ends and running backs. All the first 3 quarters, I'm just going to chip away 4 yards, 4 yards. That's what I'm going to be doing. And by the whole fourth quarter, they can't get my offense off the field, and I'm just running up the gut all day. And that's what you saw them do to us. And the Jets are now behind the curve. 3 years ago, we had an opportunity to get it ahead of the curve, and I saw Joe Douglas starting to do it, which I really liked, which is when he had Breece Hall, who is not known for it, but he is it. He is a hammer. You saw him do it to Kyle Hamilton a couple weeks ago. He was running. He just lowered his shoulder. Kyle Hamilton fucking laid on the ground for 5 minutes with his shoulder. Joe Douglas, having Breece Hall, went and drafted Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. And I said, here we go. Holy shit. He's finally doing it. In response to what we should have done to couple that is we should have went and got a big-ass wide receiver, but we didn't, and another tight end, a big one. Well, he kind of tried to do that with Ruckert. Ruckert just, with all due respect, isn't really meeting the expectations. He has his moments, but he's not quite as good at blocking as we'd hoped, and he's, not quite as effective in the passing game as we'd hoped. But that's what we're doing. Like when I saw Braylon Allen draft, that you remember, that was my RB1 for the Jets. Why? Because of that exact thought, Dante. I want the Jets to go ahead of the curve. And Aaron Rodgers talked about it in an interview. He said, well, now that the defensive backs, all the defenses are defensive back heavy, it calls for the response to be bringing a bigger game to the offense. More running, more tight end sets, multiple tight end sets. So that's what you got to do. And look, defensive backs, God bless them. When you have a really beautifully timed corner blitz or safety blitz, it can work, but you can't send them all day like you can linebackers. You can't do it. An offensive lineman's going to eat them up. Even running backs eat them up. When we were sending Mo Lewis on blitzes, sure, the running back can get in his way once, twice. Third time, the fucking running back's getting run over, man. Mo Lewis was Marvin Jones. You send those guys in, you send Quincy, that's great and all, but he's 25 pounds too light. 25 pounds is a big deal. Grandizer wants to do a mock draft. Like I said, I'm not touching mocks. And I recommend it. I know I want it too, Grandizer. But I recommend patience, withhold the urge, because what it does when we start doing this now, when we get to mock season, everybody's tired of it. Oh, another mock. Ugh. It's like, well, this is the time we should be doing it. I love the pre-free agency period. And then my favorite time of mock drafting is once we get past the first week of free agency, how it changes. I love that period right there. Right there. That's the sweet spot for mocking. Yeah. Don't start me on Mims, Green Dog. And that's the other thing too. Like when you got to have a coach with nuance, or but the thing is they didn't draft Mims, so it just is what it is. But when, you got to know, like when you're having you look at these guys in the combine and you look at all their skills, their athletic ability and all that shit. And then there's the interviews. The interviews are where you it's not about, hey, tell me where you're from, man. What made you want to fall in love with the game of football? Fuck that. I could give two shits why. Like where, I just don't care. I want to know if this guy that I'm sitting in front of can handle me when I'm ripping him a new ass in the middle of his back in front of 50 fucking guys. Can he handle it, and will he respond to it? Because that's my style. I'm not saying me, I'm saying in general. You know what I mean? Not me, I'm not a coach. But like when we're doing those interviews, it should 100% be about finding out what this guy's made of when the going gets tough. And sometimes the going gets tough because I make it get tough. Because I'm forging. The training camp is the forge, man. That's what I would call it. August, it's not training camp, it's the forge. And I'm going to know who's a sword and who's just a piece of fucking scrap metal I'm throwing in the garbage. Who's just a useless piece of ore that I can't make anything out of. I'll know by the end of training camp. It's going to be a fucking shit fest. Pack a lunch. Tell your girlfriend you're not going to be talking to her for a little while. You're going to be exhausted at the end of the day. But you can't even do that anymore. We practiced too hard. We had tackling drills. I got hurt in practice because the practice was too tough. Good, you're a pussy. Get out of here. That's what football's supposed to be. So when you're interviewing these guys, you got to know, can they handle your coaching style? Can they handle New York? Can they handle the New York Jets? How are they going to handle when we're down 3 touchdowns entering the fourth quarter? What are you made of? Because I think we can still win. Like that kind of stuff. Oh my God, Paul. I was so young. All I remember from that, 1992. I was 20. I was 19. Well, you know what? Let me think. That was 1992. So I guess I was 20. But I was still in my infancy. But you're 100% right. I remember the hubbub about Blair Thomas. When the Jets drafted Blair Thomas, it was as if the Jet, like we had just secured our place in history. Like that's the big deal it was. Blair Thomas, like it was such a big deal. We drafted him 2nd overall. And then the Giants in that same draft got Rodney Hampton. Remember him? And he was like, and the Giants got a running back too. That's what it was like. And Rodney Hampton was light years better than Blair Thomas. Blair Thomas was dog shit. From the word go. He had a handful of decent games. Remember, that was Thurman Thomas in that running back class. Emmitt Smith. That was a stacked running back class, man. They were all first-round picks. The one guy who didn't amount to anything was the first guy taken, ours. Because they didn't know. They bought into the hubbub. Whoever was picking, that was Steinberg, I think. And he was a good GM overall. But man, they didn't do their homework. Yeah, Penn State. And then it's funny because a couple years later, Kyjaner Carter, remember him? He was the same hubbub about him. Same number. He wore number 32 at Penn State. And I remember that too. The hubbub about Kyjaner Carter. And I remember reading magazines, because that's what it was then, reading and thinking to myself, this guy sounds a lot like Blair Thomas to me. There were the obvious parallels. But He amounted to nothing. Kai Jana Carter, I'm curious. Let me see what he did in the NFL. Hold on. Kai Jana Carter played for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, all for the Cincinnati Bengals. His best year was 464 yards and 7 touchdowns. That same year, he also had 30 let me see. He also had 21 receptions for 100, so there's that, but collectively 500 and 500 yards. Oh, 600 yards. Collectively. Scrimmage yards, 600. His best year. I got to look at Blair. Hold on. Blair Thomas. Holy shit. So he played for the Jets for 4 years. You know what the biggest travesty of Blair Thomas was? That he took playing time from Freeman McNeil at the end of his career. Freeman McNeil was significantly better. So that was not 92. That was 1990. So I was 18. I was thinking to myself, man, I was at 20 years old. I was probably 17. Yeah, because I was 17 years old when we drafted Blair Thomas. So his rookie year, his best year was his year 2. He had 778 yards or 728 yards for a 3.9 yard average. And he also had 195 yards receiving. He had 3 touchdowns. Fucking the number 2 overall pick. That was the best he could muster. Then he went to let me see here. So then he went to New England, and then they traded him, or they cut him, and he was signed by Dallas. I remember that. And then he played his last year. He played on the Carolina Panthers in 1995. He had 22 rushes for 90 yards. Jesus. Crazy. Of course I remember Adrian Morrell. I could tell you his life story. So yeah. So when you look at it, that's the whole thing with the draft, man. Look, and again, like Muji's first 2 picks, and it looks like AZ Thomas is getting a lot of playing time, and I'm not sold on him yet. I'm really not. But there's something there. There's something to work with. He's not getting made a fool of. I mean, he's already better than D. Milner. You know what I mean? Thurman Thomas wasn't the first pick. No, he wasn't, dude. You're fucking high. Yeah, the second round. There it is. Jesus. Why do you do that? Like, what is that? What do you get out of that, Chaos? I got to know. What is that? Anyway, Jeremy's funny. Yeah, so, all right. Well, look, man, from a stream that started like it did, and I was bailing. Remember, I was out at 10:45. I was out of here. Here we are, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock, 12:02. We did it. You guys are amazing. You guys stuck with it, and here we are. I can't believe how bad it was in the beginning. And look, it all settled down. I'm a little laggy, but nothing we can't handle. What's up, Jason? Thank you, buddy. You're the man. Charles London. You think he's the guy? You guys think he's the guy for the job? I don't know, man. He's a running backs coach, in my opinion. I don't know why we'd give him the first our quarterback. I hope they do something there. Wilkes, if I had to pick a concern, I'm more concerned with who's going to be in charge of this fucking quarterback that we get. Right, Paris? So, all right, guys. Well, listen, don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd be so kind. Remind you about the great sponsor that we talk about all the time for this channel, the one and only Sleeper, who has an amazing offer. As a matter of fact, I'll show you. The best thing ever. To try the app, they want to give you, without a deposit required, a $20 offer to get started with the app. The only app, not the only, but the number one app with the most stats you can find out there. But they are the only app. You can turn game day into payday. And that's what we do around here. Just turn game day into payday with all your football knowledge. Go to the app, look at the player props for the predicted stats, pick more or less, stack them up. The more that you play, the greater the odds get for you in your favor monetarily. Again, a couple weeks ago, I turned $10 into 241. Amazing. And this is where to do it. The great Sleeper app. Once you look at it, you'll know. And you're ready to make your first deposit. Use the promo code GREENBEAN to get up to a $100 match on that deposit. 100% up to $100. It's amazing. I made it easy for you. The link's in the description of this very video. Take advantage of it, like so many of us already are. You know, it's where we have the TalkinJets Pick'em. It's where we have the Beanbagger Fantasy League. So much you can do on the amazing Sleeper app, and I thank them for hanging out. Promo code GREENBEAN, everybody. With that all said, we're going to get out of here. I love you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button. Most of you didn't. So go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Have a great night, and I will see you next time.
I think he's going to be, day one, a violent vertical edge setter.
We compete today. I see some ass off the edge.